What's up guys, DuArktik with another Marvel Strike Force video, and today we have a sad video. It's time to say goodbye to Apocalypse because he's no longer relevant. Yes, that's it. If you're thinking about taking him to Dark Dimension 6, if you didn't take him in the past, well, there is no point in taking him now because you can take other options that might be a lot better. So this is going to be the review of Apocalypse in 2024 for new players or some veteran players that are doing the 15 runs, and if you want to do the global section as fast as possible. Of course, that Apocalypse still has some value on the legendary section where you can use the horseman characters as well, but it's up to you to decide if you want to do that. Especially once again for new players, this is going to be crucial because those are going to be multiple characters that you have to invest in, where if you're skipping on Apocalypse, you might bring other characters along, especially with some new legendary characters that are coming to the game, like Black Cat and Green Goblin, that are very powerful in Dark Dimension as well. So in this video we're going to take a look at the pros and mostly the cons of bringing Apocalypse straight to Dark Dimension 6, and if instead you should be prioritizing other characters. And we're going to take a look at some gameplay to see these other options in action and see if it's going to be worth it or not. So as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure to share the video with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button like a boss. Okay, so first off, Apocalypse will always be one of the best characters in the game. That's no questions about that. The question is if new players should prioritize getting Apocalypse over other characters that might be more useful in the meantime. Because if you are a new player, if you are just arriving into Marvel Strike Force, you have to get up 23 characters to unlock Apocalypse. You need to give them isolatable level 4, isolatable level 5, gear tier 17, and a lot of those characters are not meta anymore. I could say that probably 35 to 40% of those characters are not meta, pretty much skippable, and that's why this is important, because you can put all those resources in newer characters that will completely take over of what Apocalypse was doing in the past. Then Apocalypse is a very expensive character. He requires 5 sets of mini uniques, and he also requires Astra energy, and all of those items are very important also for other characters that are part of the meta nowadays. So you have to decide, am I going to bring Apocalypse, or am I going to bring these other alternative characters and bring more characters? Instead of just one character, you're going to bring 2 or 3 and have overall probably easier experience. So we are going to analyze all of that. Then in terms, it's just the investment. I think Rage Gaming also made the calculations, the amount of gold that you need to unlock all the 23 characters, to gear them up to 17 and so on. It's way over like 200 million gold, or even more than that. And that's just something that seems unreasonable for new players. And like I said, we have additional options in global, and we're going to talk about them. Some of them are more useful than others, but we're going to focus on Extreme X-Men. This is going to be the main topic of this video, is because the Extreme X-Men right now, they are a very powerful raid team, but they can also have a lot of value in Cosmic Crucible, in Alliance Wars, and also in Dark Dimension. And with the price that you pay for Apocalypse, and sometimes Apocalypse plus another mutant character, you can get up 3 or more Extreme X-Men characters and do the global section of Dark Dimension with those characters instead. And on the last section, on the one where you can also use Apocalypse, well, you can use some of these newer legendary characters, or you can use characters like Omega Red that still hold a lot of value, and use them instead on that last section. Okay, so in terms of Extreme X-Men, right now we have 4 of them in the game. You should definitely prioritize Nightcrawler, because he has a very low cooldown and stun. He has a strong kit as a solo character, but as soon as you start adding up more characters, the team gets better and better. In the past, I tried Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and Gambit. This time we brought Forge along, and the more characters you add, the better they get in Dark Dimension, which is a surprise because in raids they are okay-ish. They kind of work like a glass cannon team, but because the enemies that we are facing in Dark Dimension are not so overpowered, or the combination of characters is just not so crazy, it doesn't feel as that bad. Okay, so with this in mind, we're gonna take a look at the gameplay of Extreme X-Men with Apocalypse and see that Apocalypse doesn't do much, and then we are going to take a look at the gameplay of Extreme X-Men without Apocalypse on the last node. And then you guys will let me know in the comments below what you think about it, because I definitely believe that this might be the best option going forward for new players that want to not invest on 23 characters before they get Apocalypse. Like, at some point you want to unlock Apocalypse, but between unlocking Apocalypse and then maxing him out and so on, it's going to take a very long time. And you can see right here that I used the Extreme X-Men, they did most of the damage, and this was on the last node. Then we have one shot on the second node and one shot also on the first node, and you'll see that it was mostly Extreme X-Men in action. Let's take a look at the second node of Dark Dimension 6, Global. This will be with Apocalypse, but mostly Extreme X-Men, and I just wanted to show you that it's mostly the Extreme X-Men party. They are doing everything. Apocalypse is just doing basics every now and then, and this is obvious, I guess, because, well, Apocalypse does not have any source of energy, and that makes him a little bit underwhelming. So we start off with a special. We are facing 10 enemies at the same time, and this starts to show right away the value of these Extreme X-Men, because they have defense up, deflects, and evades all the time, plus speed up, which helps out with some of these characters being extremely slow, and that's going to be very helpful. This was one try, one kill, which is very impressive. That means even without any preparation, you are able to one-shot these. The cooldowns were okay for the most part. We had that special on Apocalypse, but there you go. Now, some of these characters you kind of need to learn how to play with them. You need to know exactly when to use the ultimate of Cyclops. It's going to be extremely important that you learn how to do that. You need to make sure that the special that he has, it has at least a little bit of energy. And that's it. So you can see that yes, Apocalypse is doing a little bit of damage when he does his ultimate and the special, but beyond that, it's really the Extreme X-Men show. And this is without Sunspot. If you use maybe Sunspot instead of Cyclops, you'd have a little bit more value, because you're going to get more energy on Forge, and the energy on Forge can be extremely helpful. You also get more energy on Nightcrawler, which will allow him to stun more often. And Cyclops is okay, his ultimate is nice to have, and the special is definitely nice to have, but he might be the character that you want to skip on. Beyond that, is just to make sure you know when to use the special of Gambit, because it gives speed up, but you don't want to spam the speed up. You want to use the special of Gambit, and then you want to use the special of Forge to extend the speed up, and then you want to use the ultimate of Nightcrawler to extend the speed up again, and like this you can keep a speed up on the team without having to rely on spamming the special of Gambit over and over again, because sometimes you're going to need that ability block, as this team does not have a lot of control beyond I mean, they have the Nightcrawler special, which is great, but you want to make sure that you use it on the right moments. Okay, so you can see that this team is great. They lack offense up, so you want to make sure that you use the special of Forge, usually on characters with offense up, and then once again you want to make sure that you extend that offense up with the ultimate of Nightcrawler. And as you guys can see, like, I don't know what else to say. Like, the team is just destroying the enemies, and it will keep going over and over again. Once again, this is first try, one shot, and I find it very, very incredible. So once again, we have that Cyclops ultimate. We're gonna save it for later when the big wave drops after we kill Cloak. It's gonna drop like 10 enemies once again, and we're gonna use all the cooldowns at the same time, making sure that we destroy the enemies and also flip the regens that they have on the team. The team is sturdy enough that even if you don't have cooldowns ready, you can stall the match and make sure that you get those cooldowns going. And yeah, this is, in my opinion, I guess this is going to be the best option for new players, because once again, you can go directly for Super Scroll and unlock Super Scroll first, and then you can worry about unlocking Apocalypse, because you don't have to gear up all that junk like Scarlet Witch and Phantom X. And even Sunfire is pretty much useless, or Brawn and She-Hulk, very expensive characters that might not be a priority. And the Centerpiece Unique right now, Scopely is making tons of money on Centerpiece Uniques because people are just so starved for them. We still don't have Gear T19, we still don't have a solid and consistent source of the Centerpiece Uniques. So it's definitely something that if you are a new player, it's something that you should avoid as much as possible, is getting stuck behind 23 characters to unlock another character. So 24 characters in total to go through Dark Dimension 6. Okay, so you can see that if you time out your cooldowns properly, you're gonna destroy the enemies. Here I was not paying too much attention. I let Cloak to do his ultimate, which is a little bit inconvenient, as this team does not have a lot of ways to clear negative effects. But like I said, they are sturdy enough and they can withstand some negative effects in the face. So the only way right now you have to clear negative effects is with Forge Ultimate. But without Sunspot, we don't have a lot of energy generation, and unfortunately, it's really painful in that regard. Okay, so we're gonna copy those counters from Firestar. Firestar is a great character because you can copy the offense up from her and also the counters, and that's gonna help you out. You have to remember that using the right ISO weight is great. A lot of people are complaining about the focus of Nightcrawler, which is definitely a problem, but most people are using a 3 yellow stars, 3 red stars Nightcrawler, and he's still doing Dark Dimension fine. And that's the thing, even at low stars, these characters have huge value, and this is why I think this should be the option for a lot of players going forward. Okay, so we pretty much got the gist of it, right? So they are destroying. This is node number 2, and we are using Apocalypse. Now let's take a look at the node without Apocalypse. That Spider Weaver, you're gonna see that I'm going to ability blocker or stun with Gambit. No, I'm gonna just max damage her and now stun, and that's pretty much it. So if you if you're thinking that I'm gonna skip the video just because of Spider Weaver, it's not the case. Okay, so here we are on Dark Dimension 6 once again. We are on the last node, and this time we are not going to use Apocalypse, and you'll see that the team is still doing fine. This time we're gonna bring Spider Weaver or Lady Deathstrike. Okay, so on my first run I used Spider Weaver. This time I'm gonna use Lady Deathstrike. This is my second run with this team, and yeah, the team is quite phenomenal. So once again, you should have Nightcrawler as a raider. Every time he crits, he's gonna give speed bar to the team. That's why even with slow speed, they are not that slow, and that's how you keep up with the enemies. Lady Deathstrike here is great because she can do turn rewind to the enemies. If the enemies are at low health and you kill them, you can turn rewind twice by 40%. And because the Extreme X-Men, they have speed up all the time, and because the enemies have slow most of the time, it creates a huge imbalance of how many turns you take over your enemies. So you can see right here we are just shredding through the first wave, but Lady Deathstrike is getting low. Our characters are getting low as well. We have some negative effects. Are we going to be able to survive? Yes, we are. Okay, so Archangel is gone, Dark Beast is gone. Sometimes you just have a little bit of bad RNG. Remember that if you apply Expose to one of your enemies, make sure you attack that enemy with Expose. I think not only to increase the crit chance of Nightcrawler, but any other Extreme X-Men that attacks it. At least that has been my experience. Maybe just a coincidence, but even when I attack with Forge or with Cyclops on the exposed, it always crits. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but I definitely have noticed that. Okay, so here we go. We are going to smash that Phantom X, and once again this wave completely destroyed, and we were able to recover all the cooldowns and also our health. Lady Deathstrike is a great option for Dark Dimension because of her survivability with death proofs and evades. Also the turning wind is extremely helpful, and especially if you can manage to land and kill one enemy. Now, in this specific situation, because we are facing Hela, it's going to be super easy to do that. So just make sure that you're attacking on the right place, and you're going to be able to turn rewind your enemies by 40%. Here we are going to spam the special of Gambit. Unfortunately, I already used these charges 2 times, and now you have to wait for the Forge ultimate in order to get more charges on Gambit. And you want to make sure that you use the ultimate of Forge when you really need it. Like, if you don't really need to ability block your enemies, just don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we are going to use that special of Nightcrawler in order to stun the zombies Iron Man, because they are definitely a problem. While this team is okay with dealing with negative effects, you don't want to deal with too many of them. And if the enemies start mind controlling your characters, well, they're gonna kill each other, and that's not great, right? Okay, so we're gonna try to get offense up on our characters. Then, because we have the ultimate ready of Nightcrawler, you're gonna use that to extend those negative effects, or those positive effects, sorry, including the offense up, which is the biggest problem of this team right now. I strongly believe that with Sunspot this is going to be even better, but once again, with Cyclops is doing fine. It's not amazing. It's not amazing. His damage is a little bit limited and his cooldowns, but it's doing fine. And there you go. So overall, I think this team will definitely replace Apocalypse. You guys can see for yourselves that it's working fine, and it keeps going on and on. I just don't want to make the video too long, but you guys can definitely see that it's working fine. So let's push maybe a little bit forward to see how far we can get. And this is just with 1 attack, right? You guys can see 1 attack, and you'll see that we almost one-shot. That's the reality of it, is that without Apocalypse, we almost one-shot the last global node, which a lot of people find very problematic with all those Hellas and zombie Iron Mans and Gregs and so on. It can get quite annoying, so if you are stunning the right characters like the zombies or whatever character like Gambit, then you're gonna do just fine. Okay, so there we go. From 43 enemies, we have 15 remain, and this is where the team falls off, or because I didn't control the cooldowns properly or something like that. But yeah, I was not able to bypass this wave. So there you go, guys. If you're trying to get Super Scroll in 2024, maybe it's time to forget about Apocalypse. Maybe the reality of it is that Apocalypse is no longer relevant enough in order to be a priority for Dark Dimension. And after you get Super Scroll, then you decide if you want to go after Apocalypse or not. Once again, he's still one great character. He's probably top 2 characters in the game. But because his unlock requirements are so difficult to follow, especially as the meta keeps going forward, maybe it's just better to give it time and then go after him after you have your priority, which should be Super Scroll and maybe even Mephisto, right? Because most of these characters that we are going to use now, we can also use for Mephisto. So that's the situation right now in terms of Apocalypse. You take it to global, maybe, but if you're a new player, maybe not. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure you share the video with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Mouse Strike Force content, and I'll catch you guys later.